Lakers trade rumors are really starting to escalate as multiple new rumors and reports have dropped, revealing some wild details as it pertains to the Lakers' next move. We're going to break down exactly what those reports are and discuss what it means going forward, as well as discuss some other interesting updates. So stay tuned for all that in this episode, folks. Before we get into it, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Lakers content. Your guys' support has been unbelievable. If you want to help us towards our big goal of 20,000 subscribers, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And obviously, the Lakers right now are on the outside looking in of the playoff race. They got eliminated. We all know that, and it's unfortunate, but a ton of new reports and rumors are dropping ahead of what's going to be an absolutely absurd offseason for this team. But again, a quick reminder, if you're part of the percentage who aren't subscribed, make sure that subscribe button. Ladies and gentlemen, a ton to go over today. Now, let's dive right into it. There has been a ton of different reports, rumors, all these different things surrounding different players, and I've been covering them on the channel, and I'm very curious. I want to make this video to see what you guys think about this new and latest rumor. Lakers named prime landing spot for the former #1 overall pick. Now, leave your guesses down below on who this is if you already couldn't tell from the intro video and the the thumbnail there. It is, of course, Deandre Ayton. You can see this here. Andy Bailey of Bleacher Report outlined a couple of potential options the Lakers could explore to upgrade their front line, featuring the inclusion of Ayton as a potential target. Ayton is a strong rebounder who can generate offense with his back to the basket, serve as a lob threat for Luka, and rebound efficiently. At just 26 years old, he has plenty of untapped potential in his game, especially if he had playmakers like LeBron, Doncic, and Austin Reaves to collaborate with. He excels in the pick and roll as a player who can roll directly to the basket or execute a short roll to the mid-range shot or pass the ball efficiently. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this one is interesting because Deandre Ayton has had a very up and down career so far. He obviously got drafted by the Suns #1 in, that infamous draft. And then from there has been kind of up and down, got traded to the Blazers. I'm very curious to see what you guys think about this because I think in a nutshell, it makes a lot of sense again. And the Lakers' current structure of their team and their front office is going to be going for a center that is a lob threat. And Deandre Ayton is that. But if they want to go for a center as a bit more offensive upside, Deandre Ayton would be that guy simply because he's only 26 years old. And obviously, there's been some question marks about his work ethic. There's been some question marks about can he play winning basketball. And I think if there was going to be a guy to take a flyer on, you could argue that Deandre Ayton will be one of the best simply because of his, past experience as a #1 overall pick, but also the skills that he possesses. He is a very good scorer when he's on. He's a very good rebounder, and his physicality, lacks a little bit. But it's a very interesting, option. I'm not saying it's the best option or the most likely option. Of course, Nick Claxton would make, maybe some more sense to some people. Walker Kessler, all these different guys. But as it pertains to specifically, the Lakers and Deandre Ayton, makes a ton of sense just from the center position, the fit position. You think back to, some of his last 5 games dating back to the season with the Blazers where he averaged 20, 12, 1, and 2 steals and blocks combined a game. Ayton has all the potential in the world, and he could be a guy that the Lakers look at and say, hey, we want to, maybe we want to take a flyer on him. We'll dive into some trade packages in a minute, but maybe we want to take a flyer on him, see what he can do, what type of, and again, the thing with the Lakers team right now, when they're looking for a center, they're not going to most likely get a superstar center like a Joel Embiid. It's possible, but most likely they're going to go for someone that, plays a specific role. But you have Luka Doncic, you have LeBron James, you have multiple players that are some of the best facilitators the league has ever seen. And if you want to be able to tap into some of that untapped potential, similar to what they did for Jackson Hayes prior to the playoff run, it makes a ton of sense to go out and look for a guy that is struggling elsewhere, or we've seen flashes of potential but hasn't fully gotten there yet, as opposed to maybe a guy like Jaren Jackson Jr., who you're going to have to give a ton up for, and you know what you're going to get out of him. Now, with Deandre Ayton, he's shown flashes in the past, we'll dive into his stats in a minute, of greatness to a degree, like a really good 20 and 10 player, and a Mark Williams type. But he's also shown flashes of, hey, we're not great. We're not a very a great team. Now, there was a trade that was proposed, which includes, it's an interesting one. Dalton Knecht, a 2031 first round pick and salary filler for Deandre Ayton. And that was a trade that was proposed. It was, again, a Knecht and a first essentially for Ayton. And there was an article that dropped why Los Angeles does not do this trade. And I want to get your thoughts. Would you do the framework of, leave a comment right now, Dalton Knecht, a 2031 first-round pick, you can say protected, unprotected, up to you, for Deandre Ayton. Of course, you would need to get the salary, Maxi Kleber, Gabe Vincent, whoever it ends up being. Why the Lakers don't do this trade, and it doesn't have to be Gabe Vincent, whatever salary fill you want, Maxi Kleber, Rui Hachimura, probably not Rui Hachimura, but whoever it is. Ayton is a polarizing player who is not for every team. While Ayton is a solid threat on offense and on the boards, he is not an excellent defender and rim protector, which is something the Lakers need. Offensively, he should be a fit, but it would be interesting to see how they get this to fit on defense. He is also on an expiring contract, and the Lakers give up a first-round pick for him. They would almost certainly re-sign him. Is it worth another contract? Thybulle's a good defender, but is a near zero in offense. And of course, in this trade, you'd be getting, Thybulle back as well. Could be very helpful. So it's Ayton and Thybulle for, Knecht in a first. And Thybulle, he's a very good defender and something the Lakers actually kind of need, but his zero in offense. And I wanted to bring this up because some of the negatives, and this isn't just something for this, hypothetical Deandre Ayton trade that was proposed. It's more so about, in general, how the center market's going to work for the Lakers. They need somebody who plays good defense. And that is one of the flaws of Deandre Ayton is he's not an elite defender. However, if they think they could turn him into a very solid defender with the coaching staff, all these different things, the untapped potential, he is a former #1 overall pick. So I think it would make some sense for them to try and maybe even a reclamation project. Now, I don't know if they're going to want to give up Knecht and a first-round pick for this. Maybe one of those two in a deal for Ayton just because of some of the risks in it. And they also go on to say why LA does do this trade. They got a talented center who fills a big need. While Ayton has not lived up to the #1 pick status, he is a solid player who would benefit from playing next to Doncic and James in LA. The Lakers need a big presence in the middle, and Ayton would fill it out. And of course, Thybulle would give them a point of attack defender they need. And I'm not too worried about the Thybulle part. I think they're going to go out and get maybe an Nickeil Alexander-Walker type. But regardless of that, again, this shows what they need. And the good thing is any either free agent center or center they're going to trade for will probably be willing to extend in LA simply because of the fact that they're going to be able to elevate almost any other center that they, acquire. Any center they acquire. You have two of the best facilitators in the world in LeBron and Luka Doncic. That's going to elevate a center's game. And unfortunately, it wasn't able to really be done with Jackson Hayes, even though we saw flashes in the regular season when he became the starting center of greatness for Jackson Hayes, greatness given his ceiling, right? And you look at it from the perspective of JJ Redick, and, Hayes was a beast for a little bit there. In the playoffs, you're going up against a very good Minnesota Timberwolves team, and they weren't going to be able to, play Jackson Hayes. Or they probably should have, but JJ Redick decided against it. He was a negative on offense. They have Rudy Gobert, all these different things. But he was a beast for a little bit there. And that can happen with, DeAndre Ayton if he comes in. And last year, coming off a down year, averaging 14 points a game, 10 rebounds. Ayton is a fantastic rebounder. He's not a great defender, but he's shown abilities to be a decent defender, having a blocking game last year. And if he comes into a winning system and a winning culture, you have to hope that the Lakers coaching staff, if they make this trade, would be able to get the job done and allow him to be a better defender. And I think that having some of the pressure, off of him offensively can maybe help him become a better defender. Because most of the teams he's played for, he's been asked to do a fair bit offensively, but at the same time, it's going to be interesting to see. Would you do a trade similar to that? Let me know down below. Former #1 overall pick. Rumors are going to continue to escalate, folks. It's that time of year, and of course, there's going to be a lot of different targets for the Lakers simply because they need a center, and that is their #1 priority as we enter a crucial part of the offseason once the regular season ends. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know down below what your thoughts are on all this. Would you do the trade? Going to read through the comments. Check myself. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next video.